What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Your boy is back, and I want to give you guys my thoughts on the 2016 NFL regular season and my wildcard weekend predictions. First off, before I get into it, I want to say Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed their Christmas and New Year's weekend, and hopefully we bring in this new year right. This is my first video of 2017, and I hope you guys all enjoy it. But anyway, this NFL season was wild, to say the least. It was wild, unpredictable, topsy-turvy, something out of the Twilight Zone. And the thing is, you only get that Twilight Zone feeling from the NFL like once every few games. This year was totally up in the air. Like, because some teams had complete turnarounds than they have had in the last year or two. Example, the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders, they got a little bit hot. I mean, like, you could tell they started to light the fire under their asses, like, in the middle of last year. But this year, they really did come out guns a-blazing. It's just a damn shame that Derek Carr had to go down the way he did, and as much as I hate to say it, they're gonna pay for his injury and his loss in the playoffs. But I'm gonna get to that later. Another team I didn't really expect to do as good as they did was the Dallas Cowboys. Dak to the future. The Cowboys, we're Dak or back. Well, okay, enough of the damn Dak Prescott puns. I mean, you guys get what the hell I'm going with this. And I said this back in 2006, 2007, I believe it was. I said that as long as Tony Romo was the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, they would never win a championship. But in their game today, they say you see a little bit of light. You see a little bit of life left in Tony Romo, even though I think he's pretty much done. But I don't think that Jerry Jones is going to let him go anytime soon because that's damn near his favorite son. He invested $112 million into that man. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to be going anywhere unless Dak Prescott really screws up in the playoffs or unless Dak gets a serious injury, knock on wood. The NFC North this year, the AFC North this year was unpredictable. It was kind of, you had a figure. With the way everybody else in the AFC is playing between the Kansas City Chiefs, the New England Patriots, of course, because they're not going anywhere, and also the Miami Dolphins. They surprised the hell out of me this year. Their running game is top notch, and also it's a shame that Ryan Tannehill went down the way he did too. And once again, they're going to play for that. They're going to pay for that in playoffs. But once again, I will get to that later. Normally, you can kind of get a feel of who's going to be in the playoffs and what seed they're going to be in. But like I said, this year it really was up in the air. But yeah, it's going to be, like, the NFC is going to be just as difficult because look at all the teams that started off hot, but then they just fell short. Prime example, the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a damn shame to see the way that the Eagles go out. Also, the Minnesota Vikings. And this is why I say that it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. And you never really see what a team is made of until they lose because Philly had what? A 4-game winning streak, a 4 or 5-game winning streak, and then they lost, and then after that they couldn't stop losing. Prime example of that would be the 2014 Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons made the playoffs. I'm not surprised that they made the playoffs, but I'm surprised that they locked up a first round bye. And they haven't locked up a first round bye since it was about 2013, 2014. And hopefully this year, Matt Ryan, he gets the credit he deserves. I always thought that out of his class, out of all quarterbacks probably about the past 10 years, I always felt like that Matt Ryan was probably the most underrated quarterback out of all of them. I feel like he really doesn't get the respect he deserves. But, he locked up that first round bye. So if you don't know who Matt Ryan is or you didn't give him respect before, then you're damn sure going to give it to him now. But anyway, the official playoff picture of Wildcard Weekend has been posted by the NFL Network and ESPN. So here's a look at the playoff picture. For the NFC wildcard round, we've got the Detroit Lions, 6th seed, versus the Seattle Seahawks, 3rd seed. Now, in this matchup, I'm liking the Seattle Seahawks a little bit more because they're very, very well-rounded. But the only problem is that the Seattle Seahawks can be their own worst enemy. As in, what I mean by that is that they beat themselves a lot. And sometimes that due to risky and bad coaching and them overworking Russell Wilson. And sometimes, when you have a scrambling QB like Russell Wilson, a lot of the if there's nothing that a lineman can't stand more than a scrambling QB, because they don't know where he's going to be because he's always running, so they don't know what direction to block for him in. But other than that, their running game is good, their passing game is always superb, and their defense is top notch, especially when it comes to secondary. But Detroit is also not a bad team. I mean, but the thing is, they're the sixth seed. But I mean, they gave it a hell of a fight for a hell of a run for the NFC North, but they came up short. But hey, at least they're in the playoffs anyway. Now, Detroit is a very, very good team, but their only problem is that they can't seem to close the door and hold the lead. They've been prone to run out of gas in the third and the fourth quarter, and they need to really fix that. I mean, and if not, then they're not going to get past it. But anyway, my prediction for this round, I'm going to go ahead and say Seahawks by 7 points or less. But we'll go ahead and see. Now, this is probably gonna be the most exciting matchup of the whole wild card weekend. But the fifth seed New York Giants versus the fourth seed Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is a very, very dangerous man, and if you give this man any time to throw, if you give him more than 5 seconds, or hell, even 3 seconds, you can get that championship belt. That man can hurt you from, he has so many different weapons on offense. It's ridiculous. And sure, they might be down to their second or third string running back, but that's not stopping Aaron Rodgers at all. And their defense is starting to finally wake up and come alive. They have a little bit of problems, with their line, with their line, but the linebackers more than make up for that. The secondary is kind of bipolar. It takes the right amount of push to wake them up. And the comeback kids of the whole NFC, which is the New York Giants. Eli's pretty much Wonder Boy. I mean, he can work his magic when he wants to. I mean, when he's on, he's on. But when he's down, I don't the last time he's had a real comfort behind victory was against a team like the Patriots. It's not often. When he's down by more than 10 points, he doesn't really come back that often unless it's a high caliber team. But then again, what better of a high caliber team to come back from than the Green Bay Packers? This is probably going to be the hardest one to judge. And forgive me if I'm wrong for this one, but I am going to go against the grain and give this one to the Giants. I might regret that decision later. Now we're going to move on to the AFC playoff picture. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers, my squad, versus the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have not seen a playoff berth in 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. It's been damn near a decade since they've seen the playoffs. And Ryan Tannehill, who succumbed to a ACL injury, who'll be back next year, he got him as far as they did. And their running back Jay Ajayi, he might be a rookie, but he's been playing out of his mind. He's a rookie with veteran with veteran running back instincts. And hopefully, they keep him healthy for the remainder of the playoffs, depending on how far they go. But the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do I even need to say it? They are, they have, if anybody in the wild card has Super Bowl potential, it's, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, if I had to grade their performance this year, because they lost a couple of games this year that they should not have lost, especially that Dallas Cowboys game, but I'll get to that in another video. But that's another team that's, when they're on, they're on. And this will be the first time that in the entire playoffs that that all the killer bees is what they call them are together. They have Ben Roethlisberger, he's 100% healthy and ready to go. Antonio Brown's healthy and ready to go. Le'Veon Bell, who's probably top 3 running backs in the league right now, he's healthy and he's ready to go. And that's something that the defense of the Miami Dolphins is really going to have to contest and they're going to have to deal with. And also, the secondary has a little bit of holes in it for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the defensive line and the linebackers from Pittsburgh can really come alive, especially with the help of them win 7 games straight. But if I have to pick somebody, like I said, of course, I'm going to go with the home team, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to give this one to Pittsburgh by 9 points or less. And finally, we have Oakland versus Houston. Houston, as good as they've done this year, it was as good as you could do in a weak division like the NFC South. They've been a very under the radar type of team. And Oakland has made some real noise this year, especially early on in the season. And I said they were going to go over 500, but I didn't think they would do as good as they did this year, especially with Derek Carr, leading the helm, and with Latavius Murray, him working his magic as far as running back. Their defense is pretty solid too. I think they've only allowed the most. Let's see. On average, they've allowed anywhere from 17 to 24 points a game. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing is, neither one of these guys are going into. Neither one of these guys going into the wild card with a solid quarterback. I'm sorry. When Oakland is down to the third string, and when Brock Osweiler is bipolar, and they're down to the second string quarterback, this one makes it real tough to call. But it's gonna depend. The winner of this game is gonna solely depend on which defense is more alive and kicking in this game. I'm gonna regret this one too, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Oakland by 3. And anyway, that's my prediction for Wild Card Weekend coming up, and I will see you guys next week with my review and with my prediction for the divisional rounds. Thank you guys for watching. I'm back with more videos soon, and peace out.